You know that feeling, right? That awkward silence, the argument that just goes in circles, the pure frustration of not being able to agree. So many of us are taught from day one that conflict is a bad sign, something to run away from. But what if that's totally wrong? Let's get into it and see if we can flip the script on conflict. I mean, really think about it. Is conflict always a negative? What if when we handle it the right way, it could actually be a good thing, like an opportunity to grow, to innovate, and to build even stronger connections? It's a pretty big idea, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack today. For the longest time, the thinking was pretty simple. Conflict is bad, it's destructive, and you should just stamp it out. Just sweep it under the rug and pretend it's not there. But, well, the modern view is a lot smarter. It says, hey, conflict is totally natural. It's going to happen. So the goal isn't to get rid of it, but to figure out how to use it. Okay, so if we want to learn how to make conflict work for us, we've got to understand what happens when it goes bad. So let's start with our first section, the road to war, and look at how tiny little problems can blow up into something huge. First things first, let's be clear on what we mean by conflict. It's not just about yelling and screaming. Really, it's any difference at all, whether it's real or something you just perceive that causes some kind of opposition. And you'll see it can start with something that seems like no big deal. And here's the scary part: how fast those small things can just spiral. It usually starts with just a weird feeling, a bit of unease. If you ignore it, that grows into little disagreements. Then those disagreements turn into snarky, annoying comments. From there, it's a really short hop to full-blown heated arguments. After that, people start playing games, undermining each other, hiding things, until, boom, you're at open war. This is the exact pattern we need to learn how to break. So if having too much conflict is a disaster, but avoiding it is also a problem, what are we supposed to do? That's where we get to our next section, the conflict sweet spot. Turns out there's a perfect balance we should all be aiming for. Now this right here, this is wild because it goes against everything we're taught. Look at the left. With almost no conflict, performance is actually low. The team gets lazy, stagnant, and on the far right, with way too much conflict, it's chaos and nobody trusts each other. Also terrible. But look at that bar in the middle. That's the magic. A healthy amount of conflict where people can challenge ideas and push back a little, that's what leads to the best performance. So how do we actually find that sweet spot? Well, it all starts with understanding ourselves, how we personally tend to react when things get tense. Which brings us to our third section, what's your conflict animal? We're going to walk through 5 classic styles, and each one is represented by an animal. As I go through them, I want you to think, which one of these sounds a little too familiar? All right, first up, let's meet the turtle. This is the master of avoidance. When conflict pops up, turtles just pull into their shell. They think trying to solve it is pointless, so they just disappear. They truly believe it's easier to withdraw than to actually face the music. Ever had someone just go silent and stop replying to texts about a tricky subject? You've probably met a turtle. Next on our list, the shark. For the shark, every conflict is a competition, and they're in it to win. Sharks go right on the attack. They try to intimidate, to overpower you. For them, it is a strict win-lose game, and their own goals are way, way more important than the relationship. To a shark, winning is strength and losing is the ultimate weakness. Now, for a totally different vibe, let's talk about the dog. This is the accommodator. The dog's #1 priority is keeping the peace. They'll actually give up on their own goals just to make someone else happy and save the relationship. They're the ones who say, oh, don't worry about it, it's not a big deal, even when, to them, it's a huge deal. All right, next up, we have the super practical fox, who is all about making a deal. The fox is always looking for that middle ground, right? The compromise. Let's meet halfway. You give a little, I'll give a little. They see both goals and relationships as things you can kind of barter with to find a solution that works fast. And last but not least, we have the wise owl, the collaborator. Now, the owl does something brilliant. They change the whole game. They don't see conflict as a fight between two people. They see it as a shared problem that needs a solution. Their goal is a true win-win, a solution where nobody has to give anything up because they believe you can hit your goals and keep your relationship strong. Okay, so we've met the whole crew: the turtle, the shark, the dog, the fox, and the owl. You've probably got an idea of which one is your go-to. But here's the most important part. How do we turn that knowledge into action? This is our final section, choosing your strategy.
At this point, you're probably thinking, okay, got it. The owl is the best one. I should just be an owl all the time, right? Well, it's actually a little more interesting than that.
And here it is, the big takeaway. There is no single best style. The people who are amazing at handling conflict are flexible. The real skill is choosing your style on purpose, based on the situation. And you do that by asking yourself two questions. First, how important is it that I get my way on this? And second, how important is it that I maintain this relationship? If the issue is tiny but the relationship is everything, maybe you act like a dog for a minute. If you're fighting for a core value and the relationship doesn't matter as much, you might need to be a shark. And if the whole thing is just silly and pointless, being a turtle and just walking away is the smartest move you can make. It's not about what animal you are, it's about learning to be the right animal at the right time.
So that's what I want to leave you with. Think about it. Which animal is your automatic go-to response? But more importantly, now that you know the options, which animal do you need to learn how to become?